Okay, I had a problem on the last series of videos. My camera glitched on me, so I lost the last part of that white slip. So what I had to do is I had to start a new one and try and catch up to where I was. So anyway, I started using this purple fabric. I got this at Goodwill. It's kind of a medium weight to heavy, well, not medium. It's a medium weight cotton, and it's all flawed up, so I didn't want to use it for anything that was good. So I thought this is a good way to get rid of some of this old fabric. Anyway, I went to Joann's, and Joann's has got a new set of nylon tulle. This Wila Incorporated is called Matte Tulle, and it's they have like 30 colors. If you go on Joann's online, you'll see them. They're $2.99, and they make some really cute slips for underneath so you can match your gowns. I made this one the other night for the Cinderella gown in the blues. I was going to do different shades of blues, trying to match all the different colors of tulle, but I just couldn't figure out how to get those colors all mixed up so it looked nice. But I might try again to see if I can variegate the colors of the tulle on the bottom of the slip. Anyway, wherever we were at, I was just finishing the 2 rolls of tulle, and I put in the other 2 rows of tulle, and I think this is where we got to this point where we just have our tulle sewed on the slip. Okay, so the next thing I do, you can do it any way you want. There's no, set rules or anything. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have to clean this edge off here so that I can sew. Let me make sure that you can see what I'm doing. So that I can, let me bring the camera around, so I can sew those 2 edges together. So I'm going to go really close to the edge and sew this tulle down, and I'm going to trim it flush with that edge. So let me go ahead and do that. So I'm going to put my machine over to the edge of the, about 6.5 millimeters from the edge of the presser foot. Okay, so let's go ahead and just sew down here. Do a couple back stitches to hold your stitches in. So I'm going to go ahead and just come down this edge, and I'm just going to lay that tulle down. I bought the fabric I'm going to use for my Cinderella dress too. I'm using the Casa collection. I bought the Azure Blue. I'm a little concerned that the Azure Blue, I went too far. You shouldn't probably put your stitches on the tulle because you'll see those stitches, so try not to sew all the way to this tulle, over the tulle. I just stopped right there at the edge of the skirt. Okay, so just take your scissors and make sure you can see what I'm doing. Just take your scissors and trim this flush. If you want, you can put your overcast stitch on, or your overlock, or if you got a serger, it's even better yet because you can cut and finish off at the same time. So let's go ahead and cut that thread off. Okay, so now I've got a pretty flush edge here. So I'm going to do the same thing. The only problem with the other side, though, is I'm doing it backwards because you want to start from the top to the bottom. So I'm going to go all the way most to the other side, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to sew down the other side, except I'm going to use the left side of the pressure foot. It's a little awkward, but you can do it. It's not that hard. So let's go ahead and just lay that down, and then we'll go ahead and sew it, keeping to the edge of the slip fabric. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so now we're down at the bottom to the last one, so just go ahead and lay that tulle down. Okay, go down to your fabric and then just back stitch. Okay, cut that off. Okay, so let's push that back to the middle position. Okay, so go ahead and do the same thing we did on the other side. We're going to cut this flush. You know, you can come up with a better way of doing it. This is just the way I'm doing it. You know, there's probably more ways than this to do it, but this gives you a really nice clean edge and gives you an easy way to sew. Okay, so now because this is a slip, you don't really have to finish off the edge too much. On the white one, what I did is I just folded over the top a little bit on the skirt and turned it down so I would have an opening. But you really don't need that. You can just basically just do an overcast stitch and do it like that. This is just one way of doing it. I did the, I turned it down like this, and then I just did the overcast stitch to put my stitches together. It's however you want to do it. You know, if you're doing them just for yourself, you can do it the easy way and just overcast. Or if you're trying to sell them, you might want to, you know, put a nicer finish on there. It's up to you. It's just a slip, so however you want to do it. So because this is a heavier cotton, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to turn this down to my first. No, you know what I'll do on this one? I'm just going to do an overcast and just do it that way. So let's go ahead and take our presser foot off here and put on our G foot. And we'll just do an overcast and lock those stitches. Oh, that's the wrong one. This is the hemming foot. There it is. Okay, here's the G. Okay, so we'll just do a overcast. Okay, so we're going to go down to about a 4. And then we're just going to go down and make a nice finish on here. And like I said, it's a slip, so okay, I'm only going to go down that far because I'm going to put the seams together. Let's cut that. Okay, so if that's what you want to do, you can do that, because then when you put the slip together, you won't have any raw edges. It'll just be like this. Another option is, now that you've got that done, you can just turn it down once and then sew it just like that away, and then when you come to pick up the opening, you can, let's do that. Okay, we'll do that. I'm almost out of bobbin thread. Okay, so now that we've done that overcast, let's go ahead and fold it. Put a pin in it here. And we're just going to come down to where we're actually going to have the opening. So that would be right down to probably the top of the first set of tulle. And then we'll just go off the edge. Okay, so let me go back to my straight stitch. I'm going to go in the center so I know where I'm sewing. And I'm just going to sew down here and off the edge. Oh, I think my fabric got caught in the... Okay, I'm just going to go right off the edge. So that's one of our openings on one side. All right. So now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. We're not going to sew our slip together on the back until we get our waistband on. So what I did was, what you want to do is measure your doll's waist and cut yourself, if you want this wide of a waistband, this is a 2.5 inch width. So if that's the size of waistband you want, you can use that. If you want it narrower, you can you can just cut this down smaller. This waistband has to be at least as big as your doll's waist. The Journey Girls waist sizes are 10 inches. The American Girls, they vary in all kinds of different sizes. They can go from 10.25 all the way up to 11 and 11.5. Same thing with the Our Generation dolls. I have one doll that's 10.5, and then I have another one that's almost 11.75. So unless you do it like this and you put multiple multiple hook and eyes on here, you can put your hooks here and then put multiple eyes on this size, so that you can use this for multiple dolls and you don't have to just use it for one doll. Because when it's in the doll, even if it looks like this on the inside, nobody's going to tell, but at least you'll still be able to use that slip for multiple dolls. So it's up to you however you want it. So I'm going to make this for the Journey Girls. So I need 10 inches plus whatever I want for an overhang. Or you can go flush. If you don't even want to overhang, you can go flush just like that. And only have one overhang, or have two flush edges, and then just put a hook and eyes right up against the edge. There's just so many ways you can do it. You don't have to do it the way I'm doing it. I'm just showing you one way. Okay, so now I've got my waistband done. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the same thing on the opposite side, and then when I come back we'll actually start the waistband section of the slip. Okay, I'll be right back.